Soup is literally one of the most weight loss friendly foods that you can possibly eat. So today I'm going to be showing you how to build a really basic soup recipe using ingredients you probably already have in your fridge right now. And if you eat this kind of soup before your main meal, this is going to help you achieve maximum weight loss. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time landing on one of my videos, welcome. My name is Stasia and my channel is all about health and weight loss content following a whole food plant-based diet. Now, most of you might notice the lighting around me and I apologize, it is not that great, but you know, the sun is going down sooner, so I'm just getting home from my sister's house and I am in need of making a pot of soup, because I have a whole weekend of birthday festivities coming up, not mine, my sister's, and I already know that there's going to be a lot of foods that I'm gonna be tempted to eat, so I thought, what better way than to have some soup made, be armed with my soup all weekend, and it's going to fill me up and keep me less tempted to indulge in anything that I really don't want to be indulging in. Now, a lot of people ask me about soup, like how to make a good pot of soup or what are the best soup recipes. And I do remember a time back in my 20s where I was completely lost as well about making soup. I remember my dad used to make the best soups and I had no idea what he was doing. And then once I got into making soups, I realized just how stupid easy it is really to make a soup. So I'm going to be showing you kind of 4 main type of ingredients that I look to have with every soup I make, and that you can kind of just make it from that angle no matter what your ingredients are. So you usually can fairly easy throw together a soup with ingredients you already have in your fridge. So I'm going to show you today just how to do that. Now, the type of soup I'm going to be showing you how to make today is going to be a non-starchy soup. So I've talked a lot about on my channel about preloading before a meal. Basically, all that means is filling up on low-calorie dense foods before you eat your main meal, just to reduce the overall caloric density of the entire meal. So this is very similar to the 50-50 plate. You know, it's just another way to eat more for less, as in less calories. But also, if you watch to the end of the video, I'm also going to show you what I do to make it a starchy soup. I have a few tips on that, so you can very easily turn a non-starchy soup into a starchy soup, which just means that that soup can be the main meal in itself. So yeah, I'll be showing you what I do on both sides of it. So a non-starchy soup as well as a starchy soup if that's what you prefer. But before we jump into the video, as promised, by the time you guys are watching this, I will have my weight loss recipe ebook on sale for the first 10 people who want to purchase a copy. So if you haven't purchased one already, good luck. And if you have purchased one and are looking for a few more soup recipes in that ebook, you will find some there. But at any rate, if you are interested in grabbing a copy of my weight loss recipe ebook on sale, then the link will be in the description box below. And of course, if you're not subscribed to my channel and you love health and weight loss content surrounding a plant-based diet, then be sure to hit that subscribe button, as I'd love to have you stick around. All right, let's go make some soup. Okay, so almost any soup that I make, I usually start by adding some onions or garlic, or onions and garlic. I just find that they are the perfect way to add flavor to just about any soup. So they would be what I consider one of the 4 things I always usually turn to when trying to put a soup recipe together. They can be chopped finely or coarsely, totally up to you. So the second step is choosing my non-starchy vegetables. As you can see here, I'm just grabbing some carrots that were already chopped up in my fridge, as well as some zucchini. Now keep in mind, have fun with how you prepare your non-starchy vegetables. You can shred them, you can chop them. And also, it can really be any non-starchy vegetables. So here, I'm just grabbing what I have out of my freezer. So I have some green beans and just some mixed veggies. So you can use all frozen veggies, or you can use fresh or a mix of both. And lastly, for this particular recipe, I'll be using some crushed tomatoes. And the third step to putting together a soup is choose your spices. So here I'm just using some thyme, dillweed, and garlic salt, but again, the spices are totally up to you. So once you have your ingredients together, then it's time to put the soup together. So I always like to start by having my pan already warmed up a bit, and then I throw my onions in first. I just saute them with a little bit of broth, just to make them sweat a little bit, and then I finish off by adding in my freshly minced garlic. I usually let those sweat for about 5 to 10 minutes before adding in the non-starchy vegetables. So here I'm just throwing in all of the zucchini and then the carrots and basically all my non-starchy veggies. I just throw them in the pan. I do like to usually let most of my vegetables sweat a little bit before cooking it, but that's not a hard rule, just something that I like to do. And I want to point out that this video is not a video to show you this exact recipe that I'm making, but instead to just show you the foundation of making a soup and just how easy it can be. As I'm making this video, I'm literally making up this soup recipe from the top of my head. So that's why I thought it was just the perfect time to film to show you guys how to do the same thing. So when it comes to spices, I think that there's something to be said that spices do wonders for soup. A lot of people think of soup and they think that they have to use broth or that they have to use, bouillon cubes and stuff like that. Those are great enhancers, but not necessary. More often than not, I actually don't use bouillon cubes. I usually make most of my soups using just whatever spices I have in my cupboard. As you can see, it's already starting to look pretty good, and that's a tip I have for you. You can always give a little taste test at that point just to make sure the flavor is where you want it. So for this particular recipe, I'm adding some crushed tomatoes, but I wanted to point out for those of you who do not like tomatoes, it is absolutely possible to make a delicious soup without it being tomato based. Okay, so my fourth step in making a pot of soup is choosing what kind of liquid you're going to use. Here I am using a vegan chickenless soup broth, but actually that's quite rare for me. I tend to like to make most of my soups using water only, which again is very possible, and have it still turn out delicious. When you use a soup broth, all that does is just give it a little bit more flavor, but again, nothing that you can't achieve using your own spices. So for the purpose of calorie density for weight loss, I like my soups to be on the more liquidy side. So as you just saw there, I actually added some water to that soup broth just to make it nice and liquidy. So with all of my soups, at that point, I just bring it to a boil and then simmer until all the vegetables are nice and soft. And it's really that easy. This soup, like I said, was from the top of my head, and it turned out tasting so similar to the Campbell's vegetable soup. It was just, oh my gosh, so on point. So like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, now I'm going to show you how to take a non-starchy soup and turn it into a starchy soup, also known as your main meal. So here I just pulled out my bag of rice that I've already had prepped for the week, as well as a few potatoes that I had previously cooked in my Instant Pot. So now I'm just chopping it up. And so that's what I would do. I would take about 1 potato or 2 potatoes, chop it up and throw it right in the soup. Or I would take about a half a cup or a cup of rice, whatever I want, and I would plop that in my soup. Now, the pro tip that I want to share about this, you'll notice that I'm adding starches that are already previously cooked. I personally prefer not to cook the starches right in the soup because then it just gives me the option of having it as a non-starchy soup or a starchy soup when I like. This is exactly why it's so important to have those starches prepped, because look how easy it is to throw together an entire meal. And as a bonus, I'm going to show you how to take a starchy soup and turn it into a soup that you can use for preloading before a meal. So this is just a lentil soup that I had in my fridge for a couple of days. As you can see, there's chunks of potato in there. Don't mind how it looks. I promise you, it tastes so much better than what it looks like. But at any rate, all I'm going to do is add some water to it. For preloading soups, it's all about that water content that's going to help to make you feel full and reduce the overall calorie density of that soup. So you can see for yourself how it just went from half a bowl of soup to a full bowl of soup just by adding the water. If you find that the flavor is a little bit diluted by doing this, no problem. Just add a little bit of spices, add some extra salt, and away you go. I hope you guys have a better understanding of how easy it is to make a soup. Don't forget to check out the links in my description box below, and of course subscribe for more videos like today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.